maybe. Oh, Jeremy, thanks. I see your thumbs up, which reminded me I need to hold the participant list. All right. Okay, so I think we have a quorum. I don't know, is I see Ben. Is Sue Shepler or Jack Diamond around?
We got a quorum.
All right, I'm gonna take that as a no, they're not here. Okay, so let's call the meeting to order at 9:30 this morning. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting, please? That motion is made by Supervisor Beatty and seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. This morning, we have a few items on the agenda from our public defender. And before we close, I just have an announcement from our assigned counsel. Just a quick thing to read from her. So Marcy, at this point, let's turn the meeting over to you.
Okay, good morning. I hope everyone is well, and I hope your families are well. I hate to have to come in front of you, but I feel like I need to. As you're aware, Office of Indigent Legal Services pays for a large percentage of my office. Of this year's budget, just under $703,000 are paid for by ILS. Last year, we submitted claims just under $290,000. I had Lynn Pucciarelli leave on December 31st. I held off filling her position. ILS, as you know, requires their funding to supplement and not supplant county funding. So I've had this position number 3 vacant. I would like to decrease the salary of position number 3, and I'd like to decrease it to $63,393 as you have in your paperwork. And I'd like to fill that position. So it decreases the county share of that position and allows me to fill it with someone. My concern is if I have vacant positions that the county is to pay for and ILS is to supplement the county spending, I am concerned that we will lose this $703,000. I have a bunch of attorneys, 2 secretaries, and a caseworker, all paid for by ILS funding, and I would like not to jeopardize that funding. Everyone who is hired under ILS funding is aware that they are subject to grant funding, and if the grant funding disappears, then those positions disappear. They are told that when they start, and that never changes. So anything that is paid by ILS is not paid by the county. So if the funding goes away, those positions go away. So as long as you understand, I'm very clear with all my employees on that issue. So the first item on the agenda was to decrease the salary of position number 3. If I could talk about the next thing also, they go together if you don't mind. The second thing was to increase the salary for position 8, because position 8 is grant funded for $63,393. So I'm looking to increase that 9th position up to that salary. And so the county would take the funding from one to the other.
I'm sorry, Supervisor Beatty?
So that's a wash?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's $200 cap. You got my text, right?
Hi, I just want to send out a quick little friendly reminder on this Monday morning that if you would please put your phone on mute or your video on mute, that would really enable us to be able to have this meeting.
19.
Supervisor Wild. Thank you. Could I please have a motion to get item number 1 onto the floor so we could talk about this, please? That motion is made by Supervisor Leggett and seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Let's have discussion. And I think, Doug, you had addressed a question with Marcy.
Yeah, the way I read it, it's a wash, right, Marcy? I mean, you're decreasing the funding in one position and you're taking that difference and adding it to the second position number 8, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's no additional cost to the county.
Correct.
Okay.
In fact, we will have 6 months of not having that position filled by the time this all happens, if you approve it.
Supervisor Leggett.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Marcy, the explain about supplementing the income for us so we
Okay.
understand that better. Thank you.
Sure. ILS says the county has to pay for X amount, and ILS fundings is anything plus that, so that supplements the county funding. So as a result of getting ILS funding, I have gotten attorneys, secretaries, the data officer, and the case manager all hired through ILS funding that the county doesn't pay for. So it is supplementing the county funding, not supplanting it. It's not replacing it because the county never had to pay for those things. So anything that I got from ILS is new that the county will never have to pay for. And that includes how we got desks, so the office looks the same throughout, computers, laptops, cell phones, training, all these experts, all these kinds of things are paid for by ILS. And because it's such a large amount of money that we get from ILS for our county budget, for my department, $703,000 is a lot of money.
Thank you.
$100,000, sorry.
Are there other questions as it relates to our first resolution in front of us today? No? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Marcy, can you speak to your second item? I know you talked a little bit about it, but we'll
Right.
still need a resolution.
I'm just looking to wash and put the position number 8 as the funding that was for position number 3, to switch them out.
Can I have a motion to get that onto the floor, please? That motion is made by Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor Leggett. Any discussion regarding it? Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just wanted to be, excuse me, clear. So you're getting a little bit more experienced individual with the additional $3,000.
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Marcy regarding number 2? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is good. Okay, great. Anyone opposed? Nope, that motion carries. Thank you. Marcy, item number 3.
That is to extend distribution number 5. Distribution number 5 deals with salaries from that ILS pays for my attorneys in the office. So again, it's supplementing our salary structure. It's for that. In addition, it is for I just got to make sure I'm going through all of it. Training, education, internet, computer upgrades, also for the assigned counsel office for their part-time clerk, also for the Rural Law Center with the assigned counsel office, and also for Legal Aid Society of Northeastern New York as a full-time paralegal, also for some of their office space, phones, expenses, travel, training, and legal research. So that distribution 5 has 3 components to it: public defender, legal aid society, and assigned counsel office. We're just looking for an extension. We all have funds that we haven't finished because it's a 3-year contract, and so we needed to extend it so we can make sure we spend all of ILS funding.
Excellent. Thank you. Could I have a motion to get that on the floor, made by Supervisor Leggett, seconded by? May I have a second to get on the floor? Thank you, Supervisor Driscoll. You guys are very engaged this morning. I appreciate it. Do we have questions or discussion regarding number 3?
Yeah.
Supervisor Leggett.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Marcy, by the looks of it, you have about almost $170,000 left out of this $362,000. And will that finish up this year then? And these come through a little bit late, don't they? You
Yes,
actually getting the money.
Yes, because you remember from the past, when we apply for them, we get the funds after we've already applied, and a year usually has gone by. So our goal is to spend the rest of this funding this year on this.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding item number 3? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Anyone opposed? Okay, great. That motion carries. Marcy, number 4.
Great. Distribution 6, again, the same thing. This is for the confidential secretary, and it is also for Legal Aid Society of Northeastern New York for a staff attorney, a paralegal, and the fringe for that paralegal. There is money that we have not spent. Again, as Supervisor Leggett has indicated, we get the contract after the 3-year period has already started, so we just need to spend this down the last amount. We have about $9,000 for the PD's office to spend, and about $38,000 for Legal Aid Society of Northeastern New York to spend, and that will all be finished out this year. So we're asking for the extension so we could continue to use their funding to pay these sources.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to get that on the floor? The motion is made by Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor McGowan. I see your hand. Thank you. Any discussion? Is McGowan? Oh wait, he's not on the committee. I'm really trying to get you guys involved here. Supervisor Beatty has seconded that motion. That's wonderful. Are there any questions regarding number 4 from our committee? Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Marcy, last year there was an issue with, I think, overspending from Legal Aid Society on one particular case. Is there a protocol as far as a limit on individual cases so that you can kind of stretch out the funding to serve more individuals or families, or how does all that work?
I am not privy to how their funding is in the sense of how they break it out. We are assigned to a case no matter how many hours it takes. We don't do billable hours. We're assigned until our case is ended. So I cannot answer your question. I'm sorry. You would have to have somebody from Legal Aid Society answer that, or the assigned counsel office may be able to answer that on their behalf. I'm just not sure, and I don't want to give you the wrong answer.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
We can certainly follow up on that for you too, Supervisor Driscoll.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions in regard to number 4? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, that motion carries. Marcy, thank you very much for spending the time not only to make sure that I'm fully aware of what's going on with your action items, but also to educate the public about the fact that these are grant dollars. I know that I'm sure if our budget officer had concerns about any of this, he gave a strong message at the board last week regarding our fiscal conservatism moving forward. He would chime in here, and perhaps we'll hear more from him on that topic. But I know that as it relates to grants, you're very careful, straightforward, and appreciate being able to maximize that dollar since there's no match to the county.
Can I just add one thing, please?
Sure.
I sit in on state meetings for chief defenders and the New York State Defenders Association. We have them every week. Members from ILS, Bill Leahy, and his chief attorney of the office, Trish Walrath, also sits in on those meetings. So we are trying to get updates every week or every other week. We're communicating on a regular basis. We are concerned with, obviously, what the governor is going to do in the future with grants. And we are trying to be prepared for any cuts that may come from the state funding and be prepared to deal with those as a result. And I appreciate everybody's time and consideration this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcy. Briefly, our assigned counsel, Joy LaFountain, has just asked that I publicly notify our on the record that they are officially and just officially launched their e-voucher program on May 15th. The application is now on the county website under the assigned counsel, and it's accessible to anyone as well with internet access. So several applications have already started coming through, and I know Don's put this on Facebook as well. So we're trying to get the word out about that. And at this point in time, we do not have any referrals or pending items. Before we move to privilege of the floor, which we'll see if there's any public comment from Don here in a second, are there any items that would like to be discussed by the committee or by any supervisors? No? Great, Don. At this point in time, are there any comments from the public or questions?
Nope, there is nothing posted there on our YouTube feed. I have not gotten any emails or Facebook comments.
All right, well, very good. Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll ask for a motion then to adjourn our criminal justice meeting. The motion is made by Supervisor Beatty and seconded by, so it's a tie for Supervisor Leggett and Driscoll. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Without opposition, we will close the meeting. Happy Monday.